Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite time of the year. It is now time for my top 10 albums of 2025. And if you're wondering why I'm posting this a little early, in comparison to my other videos that were more in deeper in December, it is because I have completely finished listening to everything I wanted to listen to this year. I have listened to 200 albums this year, and out of all 200 that I've listened to, these are these are my favorite. And of course afterwards, after this video has been posted, I will be working on my top 10 worst albums of the year. Um except I will let you know now that that video will be split into 5 disappointing albums for and 5 albums that I think are bad, cuz in my top 10 in my list that I've made in my list that I have made, like number 10 is like a 6 out of 10. So I feel like it's better to just split it up into disappointing and bad. But anyway, this video is not about bad albums. This albums about albums that I really liked. So without further ado, we're gonna get to number 10. And at number 10 on our list is the Crow Quill self-titled. This is a short EP that is just shy of 12 minutes, and I wouldn't say it's short and sweet. It is definitely short and sour, and it packs a punch in that time frame. And this is some of the most incredible mathcore that I've heard this year. The chunky riffs and the breakdowns are just incredible. Production is super punchy, and it really blends well with the instrumentation. And you know, a project is really good when it's over. You just beg for more, because that's how this release makes me feel. This is ranked high on my list because there is pretty much no dull moment on here. I like every track. And just the breakdowns and dissonant riffs are just better than any other like mathcore album that I've heard that's come out this year. And like this EP, the section for this release is shorter than the rest. So that will just go into our number 9. And at number 9 is Mendacium by Evoken. Now, Evoken are back to claim their crown as the best funeral doom band ever. Out of all the funeral doom bands that I've listened to, this band has always been consistently good and not boring, whereas a lot of funeral doom seems to fall flat and be boring to me. In this album, they return to like the early logo instead of like the large font that they normally go with, and I definitely enjoy this album more than their 2019 one. Even though the highest point in the 2019 one is better than the highest point on this album is just consistently awesome, just incredible. Each song is very enjoyable and has a vibe. And of course, they are back with their iconic like clean reverby tone that's very atmospheric. And with the old logo, when they went their old logo, they were more Death Doom when they were had that logo, and I was wondering if like that was a sign that they would bring some of that back, and lo and behold, they did. It is always a warm welcome when they randomly just put the pedal to the metal. Sext, even if I think that is a funny title, has a very pretty middle section. It rivals some of their moments in their entire discography. This album also includes some gothic elements which they don't normally do, like the My Dying Bride type of like gothic stuff, and it works really real well, honestly. And I think this is one of their best albums in their discography now. And then if you try to get in the funeral doom, this wouldn't be a bad start. It's very good. I enjoyed it a lot. Oh, and by the way, when I was like looking like and on Rate Your Music, someone called the fast parts fast doom. So just say fucking like just say death metal sections or like the fast pace sections. Fast doom? What the fuck is that? We're making up terms now. Anyway, and our number 8 is Distance Theory by Coroner or Coroner. And after 30 years of not putting out any music, the Swiss tech thrash legends have finally made their return with Distance Theory. It definitely lived up to the hype that was made around it. I will say it isn't like their 80s and 90s stuff besides like Grin. In my opinion, it is more a progressive album more than like a thrash album really. They take the experimentation of Grin and kind of expand upon it. Some complain about the production on the album of the modernization of it, but like I kind of feel like I kind of feel like this production lets them thrive a little bit more and lets like things be heard instead of like, you know, being forced to be stuck with 90s metal production. The first single, Renewal, really built up my hype because it was groovy, heavy, and what was even atmospheric. The breakdown on that song caught me by surprise. It was a well welcome one. However, I'm not quite sure why they released this as a single because it randomly cuts out at the end, and I know this, and I realized like, oh, this probably fades into another song, and it does. When the whole project came out, it indeed faded into another track. And as I said earlier, that this is more of a prog album than a thrash album. That doesn't mean all the thrash is gone. There are definitely more than a few thrashy riffs scattered across this track list. I say that because if you're like a massive thrash connoisseur, you might be disappointed because this isn't like No More Color, but it's still Coroner and it's a great album. So anyway, welcome back, Coroner. I hope you are here to stay. And at number 7 on our list is Insatiable Violence by Cryptopsy. Ooh boy, where were these riffs and energy in As Gomorrah Burns? That album is good, but this is much better than the other one. Like in terms of like riffs and song quality. I feel like Cryptopsy fans that hate this are just tryharding because this is very, very, very none so vile coded. Especially the song Malicious Needs. That song got me hyped as fuck for this album. Um, this one would probably ride on the upper half of their discog for me. Production's great. The vocalist does an excellent job at what he does. I've seen him live multiple times, and he also kills it in the studio, of course. The classic like flow blast beats. Anytime that man just lets a blast go, I know it's him. Incredible drummer. The album also kind of throws some cool reverby open, like very vast open sections that I think are incredible and add another layer to Cryptopsy sound. And there are also some pretty cool black metal elements too, like on the track of The Art of Emptiness, blackened riffs layered across it, all that. And the vocalist also does some black metal shrieks as well, and like Malicious Needs at the end. And I think this is what modern Cryptopsy should do. They should take their already existing sound and just expand upon it, because shit like this is very, very good, and it's proof that that's what they should do. All right, and my number 6 is Heimat by Heaven Shall Burn. And I've heard some Heaven Shall Burn before and liked it, so of course I wanted to hear what their new album sounded like. And what I was greeted with, welcome it with open arms. Because oh boy, does this slap. Core kids trying to play melodic death metal, I'm always open up to. This shit got groove. It's heavy, incredible melodies like in this track Empowerment. A Whisper from Above could be a song from like Colony by In Flames. It's awesome. The production also has some fantastic bite to it. And this album also has some Insomnium influence as well. And how often do you hear metalcore and deathcore bands take influence from Insomnium? Not often, I reckon. The obvious like hardcore like sections always hit the spot. The like the groove is the best part of this album in my opinion. Like in War is the Father of All and My Revocation of Compliance. The Jesse Leach feature from Killswitch Engage on Numbered Days is pretty cool as well. That song could probably pass as a Killswitch Engage song, honestly. This may not be the most groundbreaking album of all time, but it checks all the boxes for me, which makes it a great time for me. And at my number 5 spot is Psalms of Immortality by Omnia. These guys are really kicking ass in like the more underground Metal-Death world. I believe last year they had a three-way split with Astral Decay and Shank, and that also made my year-end list. They really like to worship Intestine Ballism, but honestly, I'm very much for it because Intestine Ballism hasn't released an album in years. And speaking of Intestine Ballism, they appear on this album. They appear on the title track, and it is pretty badass. Time at Shining also has features from Astral Decay and Upon Stone, which both bands are pretty much carrying the torch for old school sounding melodic death metal. Production on this album is very old school. It definitely does a good job at sounding like old school Intestine Ballism. There are some slam riffs sprinkled on this, like in the track Devouring Gold, and some grand triumphant like sounding stuff in the song and the sun shined on the obelisk or whatever, however you pronounce it. And this album is very much for Intestine Ballism fans, and as I am one myself, I am very pleased with it. And that's pretty much all I have for that album because it's not very long and it's also a very awesome project. And at our number 4 spot is Wolves in the Trance by Grenadier. Canadian melodic death metal outfits are back with a new album after their first album in 2022, Trumpets, Blare, and Blazing Glory. And while this album isn't good as that one, it is definitely worthy of being in their discog, and also on this list of mine. They do a terrific job of worshiping the sound of the overrated band Virginia and making it listenable. Would 100% listen to this band over any of the Virginia band's albums any day. This album is slightly different from the debut, which I feel like it takes some Swedish melodic death metal elements, even though small. It is still like running wild for death metal fans. There's of course some incredible black metal influence here. Red Civil Ensign is pretty much the sound when you think of the band that shall not be named. It is truly a banger. It's incredible. Same with Migrants of Al-Sham. That intro riff is just absolutely perfect. Not as good as their debut, but a real banger and an awesome addition to their discography. And more new melodic death metal for me to enjoy. And at number 3 is Ashen Skies by Azara. These guys are really keeping the old school melodic metalcore fire burning bright. This is my favorite release from them so far, honestly. Breakdowns are super creative. Melodies are gorgeous, awesome. Vocals are on point. Production is punchy. Awesome stuff right here. The track Thorns is just incredible. The breakdown on that track makes me want to do the stank face. Simple melodies and riffs yet so effective. The solo right before the breakdown on Thorns is really awesome too. This entire project is addicting to listen to, and the Thorns is definitely one of my favorite songs of the year. Morning Frost is a cool little interlude. I am very glad that this entire project is awesome because Balmora released like a demo EP this year and it kind of disappointed me. It is good, but it's definitely the worst thing that they've released so far, or for me at least. So yeah, the reason that this is high is because the riffs, melodies are incredible, and I just want more from them. And it's only 17 minutes. I hope they keep doing what they're doing because what they're doing is very awesome and I love it. And we're getting close to the number one spot, and my number two is Parabellum by Testament. Oh my god. The Bay Area Thrashers are back and they are pissed the fuck off. And I'm not the one to really praise like a modern thrash album made by an older band, but Testament are definitely like worthy of that and are the exception because of how consistent their releases are. And I don't remember some of their like other modern releases, but however, this one grabbed me by the throat and threw me to the ground, so I definitely won't forget it. There are a lot of times here where I even forget that I'm listening to a thrash album because this might be their heaviest album yet. Like there is blatant death metal and black metal influences here, and it makes your sound so refreshing. Like leave it up to Testament to continue to put out bangers 40 years later and still sound refreshing. Like For the Love of Pain, oh my god, what a song. The melodic black metal influences there and the riffs, I was fucking taken away the first time I heard that track. Some of the riffs of that song remind me of Lord Belial or something in that realm. It is just so fucking good. Chuck Billy sounds so locked in here. He sounds incredible. He's like 60 some years old, still fucking has pipes. He's awesome. The track in Infanticide AI is pretty much a diss on the rise of AI that you see all over the internet, which is awesome. Base Testament. And of course, the song itself is a banger. And I read online that someone said Meant to Be was a cover. I literally watched a video of them explaining that is like just like a classic Testament power ballad, which it's pretty solid. Witch Hunt has a very death metal vibe. It is very badass. So this album takes a lot of influences and continues to make Testament's sound fresh and exciting, and I hope they continue doing this. If this is their last album, then they really went out on a bang, and this is definitely in like their like this is definitely in like at least upper half of their discography for me. And before we reveal the number one spot, I just wanted to give some shout outs to albums that I thought were great, but didn't quite make my top 10 of the year. Near Death Travel Services by Dead Guy. Welcome back, Mathcore Legends. The shit is like you've never left. Psychosis by As the Sea Parts. I know the frontman of this band personally, and this project, the album, they're like a 90s band, but they disbanded and then reunited. And in like 2019, they started working on their full length album. And this album went through hell to get released, and it was indeed worth the wait. Congrats to everyone in this band because this album was a banger. Verbus Unitus by 1914, black and death metal from Ukraine, back with a banger of an album. Definitely more black metal here. It is awesome, great album. It reminds me a lot of Marduk, but it's awesome, dude. And last but not least, with the shoutouts, CFHC demo by Pissant. Banger demo from my home state, Indiana, and I am dying to hear what they have in store for us next year. And what we have for us at number one is God of Angels Trust by Volbeat. fucking god! Oh yes, yes, yes. I am very pleased. I am very happy. If you guys don't know, Volbeat is one of my favorite bands, and as soon as the first single was released, I was extremely satisfied. I played that shit over and over again, which was By the Monster's Hand. So anyway, they're back with their full length album since 2021's Servant of the Mind. And after hearing the first three singles that came out, I knew this was going to be a banger of an album. After listening to this album like 5 or 6 times, which honestly, I've listened to it way more than that. I've made up my mind, and I can confirm that this is definitely in their upper half of their discog. Not, in my opinion, it's not as good as Servant of the Mind, because Servant of the Mind, they were just zoned the fuck in, and this one was a little more relaxed. And for this particular album, I will go through each track and explain them to what I like and maybe dislike. Devils Are Awake. One of my favorites off the album. The ending riff is just pure eargasm. The chorus is fun as hell. The production here makes the song shine. The punchy guitar, holy fuck. This song is very fun. It's a fantastic opener to the album. Dude, the production on this album, I swear to God, fucking awesome. Like, I've never heard like a guitar sound this punchy and just I don't know. It's incredible. I love the production on this album. By a Monster's Hand was the first single off this album, which initially got me excited for the album's release, and the chorus is one of their best as well as the verse. This entire song is catchy as fuck. And the song halfway through turns into like a thrashy type song. Volbeat are just very good at making simple riffs very impactful. Acid Rain, it's probably my least favorite off the album. But after I listened to it a bunch, I do like it. It does seem a little bit directionless at points. So if someone was to call this track generic, or if someone was to call a track off this album generic, it would be this one. I really enjoy the background guitar work on this one, though. Also, before we get into the Demonic Depression, I just want to say that Rob leaving the band was kind of a red flag at first, but seeing this album come out and it's still like awesome, I have no doubts in my mind that they're going to continue to be awesome. Because I was very upset when Rob left, because he did some really great lead work in Volbeat, but honestly, it's good as well. It's good as well. Anyway, Demonic Depression starts off hot, doesn't let off the gas. Kind of reminds me of Shotgun Blues, but faster. Another example of simple riffs being effective. Solid chorus. Honestly, the chorus is fucking awesome. I'm not gonna lie. Not one of my personal favorites, but a very, very good cut. The track In the Barn of the Goat, giving birth to Satan Spawn in a dying world of doom. Despite the long title, like you'd see something from Nile, the track is fucking awesome. Like, it sounds like it could be from Rock the Rebel, Metal the Devil, which is my personal favorite album by them. Pretty much a perfect track. Love pretty much everything on here. Not my favorite track, but probably my second. I don't know. Time Will Heal. People call this cheesy or generic, which Volbeat has always been like for me. I really like this, and as someone who like knows their discog from the pretty much the back of my hand, it's a very unique and different type of rock ballad that they've done. The line "Time will heal open wounds, but the heart will always aside" kind of hits deep for me, and it's also like I kind of relate to it. So, but if someone doesn't relate to it, I can understand people brushing off as nothing special. But that song is addicting to me. I love the chorus in that album, or in that song. Better Be Fueled and Tamed. Now, this right here might be my favorite. I don't know. I have a lot of favorites, but this one's fucking awesome. Like, it gives me like a vibe of like dancing in a saloon for some reason. And also the riff right after the chorus just sounds evil and happy at the same time. Awesome vibe. Not to mention the riff in the second half is just fucking awesome. At the end of the Sirens, the intro riff just sounds like it's looming over you, and God, the production again, it really shines on this track as well. The chorus riff is just also sick. Nothing much else to say besides it's a fucking banger. Lonely Fields. At first I thought this would be like another ballad, but by looking at the name, and it kind of is, but it's not like Time Will Heal. Enjoyable chorus, fucking awesome. It gets stuck in my head randomly. It's awesome. I also love the very creepy like pianos, like the piano part on this track too. Enlightened of the Sorter by a Monster Sand Part Two. This song has one of the best riffs in the album. The chorus is an odd one. Kind of like in the like probably my third least favorite, but track's awesome. Overall, I am very pleased with this album, and I played it all this year. It was like sometimes I couldn't stop myself from listening to it. Not as good as Servant of the Mind, like I said, but an awesome follow up. I knew Michael going back into death metal and like with As in Hell would influence some type of writing in Volbeat, and my God, it's awesome. It is awesome. And like I said earlier, I'm glad Rob leaving the band didn't impact the quality whatsoever. So yeah, that is my top 10 albums of 2025. So if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, comment what your favorite album of the year is, and I hope you'd enjoy. Bye bye.